Welcome back to Give Me Five with Jones and Eli. Eli, first date, a lot of pressure. What kind of food are you ordering?
You got to be careful, Jones. You got to make sure it's the right mixture of obviously tasty, affordable, but most importantly, it's got to be clean, Jones. You don't want to be using your hands. You don't want a lot of sauce. And I'm going to be honest with you, those are the foods that I would normally like in real life. And I would argue the number one potentially undesirable food for a first date is a food that I love in real life, and that's the nacho, Jones. A nacho or nachos in life is amazing. But imagine you're on a date with a girl, you're sitting across from her, or a guy or whatever, and you got a plate of nachos in front of you. You got the sour cream and the guacamole and the cheese, and you're sharing it. You go reach for the same chip, it's breaking apart. You're spilling sauce all over yourself. It's a nightmare, Jones.
Anything that can splatter, anything that will need the napkin constantly. I think I could put the debate to bed about what the worst food to order, and that would be barbecue ribs, man. Those
Ooh.
just would get everywhere. They literally, when you order barbecue ribs at a restaurant, they're like, "Yep, we're bringing out a whole tray of napkins." With it, they practically bring out the sink from the kitchen there for you. That would be a really bad move. Eli, anything where the napkin is going to get overly involved, covering the face. You're trying to advertise your face. You're trying to advertise kind of the way you talk, and you're getting in the way with the napkin and stuff. Big no-no.
I totally agree, and I think especially you ever see like when you get like a lobster in the movies, like they put on the little bib, that's a nightmare as well. Anytime you're overly accentuating the napkin, and that's coming from a big napkin guy myself, I regularly ask, please, can I get 5 or 6 or 7 extra napkins for my food? But that's a really good point. You said the ribs. I was actually going to go in a similar direction as well, and I was going to say the chicken wing, right? If you're getting an order of wings and you're dipping that and you got the sauce dripping all over your hands, you've got to wipe it on your pants. It's a mix. You got to stay away from the sauces.
Well, and I would say though the wing and the rib certainly from the same family. I agree staying away from the sauces, but then you have to be aware of the sleeper foods, Elias, because these foods might not give you a problem in the moment. Don't get too messy there. But gaseous foods, you might say, foods causing gas could hurt you later in the date. I don't know exactly where the date's going. This is the first date, so I don't know what it could be leading to. But if it's leading to something, even maybe just a romantic look over at the stars at some lookout point, you got to be careful that you're really clean down there.
That's a great point. I didn't think about that at all, honestly. You got to have the foresight. You got to think about in the moment. You got to do a little snap call. Okay, where is this going? Is it going well? Whatever. When you get the menu, and then decide based on there. Because I would agree with you. Some of those foods, though, that can really cause problems are delicious. So they could be great. But if you envision, there being an after to this date, you got to be really careful of that. The other advice that I would give to the date takers out there is the spiciness, Jones. I don't know about you. I I can do spice, but not. I don't love spice. It's not my favorite thing in the world. And could you imagine you're sitting at a date or whatever, and you order something and they say it's spicy, and you're being a man, you're a big macho. Okay, yeah, I can handle it. I can handle it. They give it to you, and you take one bite of that thing, and you start crying. You're asking for the milk. You're like, literally, that's a nightmare. You got to make sure you can eat something you can handle. And if you don't love spice, stay away from all spice because that's risky.
It'd be a really bad look. But I feel like there's this conception, especially if you're going out for a nice dinner, right? Here's the safest thing to order: a salad, right? But then you're almost boring because what you order says a lot about yourself. So you're going to be the guy who takes out a girl or a guy on a date, and you're going to get at this nice restaurant. You're going to get a Caesar salad. You're going to get a Cobb salad. You got to order something with some pizzazz to it. But then you get into that issue because Eli, I argue salad's really the safest option.
Yes and no. I think salad, in terms of messiness and cleanliness or hygiene or whatever, yeah, it's super safe. It's not going to also smell bad. It's going to be easy. But you're right. It's so boring, Jones. If I was on a date with somebody and they ordered a salad, I'd say, what am I doing? I have to reconsider some choices that I made. I think actually the real safest food is pasta. Okay? It can be big range. You're on a date. You got a huge menu, so many different things. I can order something. You can order something. We can get completely different things. We're using forks and knives and spoons. No hands are getting involved. It's usually not too spicy. You can kind of pick what you want, and it's not a salad or it's not something really boring where you're going to get judged for it. Nobody's ever said I'd like a pasta, and the other person looked at him like you're an idiot. Why are you getting pasta?
I agree. Like maybe a pestoed pasta, because once you get into the marinara range, that's where we're starting to talk about good food that potentially could give you problems. Now, Here's my last question for you. If a date, you already ordered your good food on a date or your safe food, right? But the date's going really poorly and you're hungry. Do you consider pulling aside the waiter and saying, actually, bring me the ribs?
I think so. I think at a certain point you got to make that snap call, like I said earlier. And if you're there eating your pasta and all dainty and whatever, and you realize I'm never going to want to see this person again, I think you do wait to call over the waitress and say, "Give me your biggest, nacho cheese fries, a smoothie, and some extra tomato sauce that I can just throw in the air and dirty my shirt a little bit."
No reason not to pile it on at that point. This has been Give Me Five with Jones and Eli. A reminder to follow us on TikTok and Instagram to suggest our next pod topic. Eli, thanks for talking.
It was a pleasure, Jones. Talk to you soon.